third prediction show of the season preview for the DNVR Avalanche. We're finally into the West, but we're starting with the Pacific Division. Let's just get this out of the way. We don't have to talk for more than 30 seconds about him. San Jose, bad.
So unanimous. San Jose and Anaheim, bottom of the division.
Just not there yet, right? Just not there.
2/3 of California, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
They're two teams that are very realistic about where they are, and that's at the bottom of the barrel, starting to rebuild. Is what it is. Don't think we need to go into too many details about it.
2/3 of California is bad.
Yep.
Were you in Congress?
Next up, three of us have Vancouver down there. AJ also has Vancouver in the bottom half of the division. Has Vancouver become the team of I'll believe it when I see it at this point?
Eric probably won't love this, but
go.
I'm a pretty big not believer in Rick Tocchet as a head coach. I think the relationships that he builds with his players is great, but I can't get the Colorado-Arizona playoff series out of my mind when I think about him as a head coach, because in terms of X's and O's, there's a talent disparity there, so there was really nothing they could do. But that team should not have gotten bodied the way that they did. And just in my opinion, obviously Colorado was better, but I thought they got outcoached by a country mile. And I love Rick Tocchet, listening to his interviews. I think he's a guy that players really, really like, but from a tactical standpoint, I think it's not there.
Yep.
And so with Vancouver, I just don't know that I buy
That he can get them to take that step.
And look, Elias Pettersson is great.
Sure.
JT Miller's really good. Andrei Kuzmenko, Brock Besser, there's good players there. Quinn Hughes would be a much bigger deal in a different era.
Good players do not a good team make, though.
In a division where you're dominated, it's dominated by good players. Everybody has good players. Everybody's got good guys all over the place. Yeah. None of them have your major culture questions. None of them have a fan base that's nearly as angry as the Vancouver fan base is, and what appears to be a problem with your owner, and the direction of your franchise, and all these things that keep teams from being aligned in a certain vision and just going and playing good, successful hockey and building that positive culture are reasons why I'm out on Vancouver as a serious team that I am afraid of in a playoff push. I think that they're
just not there.
Yeah.
They could finish anywhere between 70 and 90 points. None of that would really surprise me.
Well, I'm kind of like you in a sense, but I obviously, I'm a believer in talk and footy, Adam Foote jumping in there. I'm biased. I am, but
at least you know it.
No, yeah, but I'm just,
I'm
hoping too. I'm hoping because they're good friends of mine, and I wish them well, and I think they'll be better. I'm more off on the vision of the organization as a whole, from the ownership down to, I do believe that's kind of what's standing in the way a little bit. I'm not sure which, and I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying not too sure where they're trying to go with the franchise. And, but I do believe they'll do a better job. I do believe that, talk and footy will get to those guys. It's just a matter of, do they have enough? And I don't believe so. That's why I have them, lower than. Am I the lowest right here then?
I am.
Yeah,
you
he was one lower than the rest of us.
Well, give and take. Here you go. We're on the same area.
Either way, on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Actually, you guys all have them lower than I do.
Oh, there you go. Sorry. Yeah. I do believe it's tight right there.
You were the highest. And we had it backwards. Yeah.
Well, again, I do believe that the bottom two are way out.
Oh, yeah.
And I do believe the other ones are all right there coming down the last 5-6 games of the season. That's just what I see. It'll be interesting to see.
For Vancouver, I think it's a long road to the middle. It might be a smoother path, and they end up exactly where they finished last year. I just don't.
Yeah.
They're not better than they were last year.
So what's happening when you travel 90 minutes south in Seattle? Can they get back to the playoffs, or is there a step back this year? Clearly, AJ, you think they're taking a step back.
I do, and it's so they lose an entire line. And for a team, Daniel Sprong, huge for them.
Yep.
Morgan Geekie gave them a lot of quality minutes. They had 15 guys last year that could play really respectable, solid minutes. All those guys will be in the NHL somewhere else this year.
Yeah.
Or like the guys that obviously are still there.
Yeah,
I mean, the guys that left will still be in the NHL somewhere.
Yep.
What do they have in a guy like a Ty Cartier coming out of the AHL? Maybe he's pretty good. Maybe Shane Wright breaks into that roster. We'll see. But you also talk about a team that you want to talk about outscoring your problems.
For sure.
They had one of the highest 5v5 shooting percentages of any team over the last decade.
Well, boy, did they need it.
The only team that followed up a really high 5v5 shooting percentage, over 10%, with another one was the recent Blues teams, and we saw how that went.
Not great.
They have a good defense, 1 through 6. It's a good group.
Yep.
They play good, smart, solid team defensive hockey.
Yeah.
Consider me out on Jared McCann repeating a 40-goal season.
I would agree.
And that's kind of the thing, is that they got, Andre Burakovsky gets healthy. Maybe they make up some of that with Berkey, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Those guys have good years. But all of it is in search of trying to repeat what they did. And that's going to be really hard to do, and the goaltending has not gotten any better.
Here's the thing. I think the goaltending will be better. I don't think it'll be great. It might not even be good, but I think it might just get to passable for them this year.
They got the best play that Martin Jones has had in the NHL in 4 years, and he was still a 900 goaltender. I think he was actually a sub 900 goaltender by the end of it.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a team that just got away with bad goaltending in a regular season.
And
I don't think that it happens again.
I agree. If their goaltending is that bad again, they're in trouble. I do think their goaltending will be better than Philip Grubauer posting a sub 900 season.
You mean for the third straight season?
Yeah.
Well, they have a bunch of junkyard dogs, right? I mean, and I don't believe they have the high-end guys. You're going to say Matty Beniers. I love Matty Beniers.
Yeah.
I don't think he's there yet. He's not like a McKinnon or Rantanen.
I don't think he ever will be.
I don't know. I mean, again, maybe not. But they're built differently, right? They're built with more like a Wolfpack mentality, and we saw that in the playoffs last year. They were awesome against the Avs. You got to give them credit. They were great.
Absolutely.
They were awesome.
Well,
And they're going to be... My question to the two of you about Seattle. What is different about the Seattle Kraken and the New York Islanders?
Very similar to me. I mean,
they're hard outs. They play great defense. One of them has elite goaltending, and one of them doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think I might give a little bit more credit to Seattle's forward depth.
Definitely. They don't have to work as hard to score goals. They're more talented at that one thing.
Like you said, McCann
But
scored
also,
40.
they're not going... They are very, very, very likely to repeat the kind of offensive success that they had last year. Very unlikely.
Yeah, that's true. The smallest part of me picks Seattle as the wild card because if you redo the round 1 matchup from last year, this year, I'm taking the Avs in 4.
I want it so badly.
Where'd you have Seattle again?
I had them in the first wild card spot.
Oh, yeah, you got them right there. Yeah. Okay.
So
you would have...
I got them out.
You would have
the
Seattle
the
as
central
the
wild card is higher.
over the...
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
Gotcha.
got it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the same position they were in last year.
Correct.
First wild card team.
Yep.
Well, then they won't get the Avs because the Avs will be the 1 seed. Maybe in the conference final.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's keep moving up the list here.
So much variance.
I think a lot of the variance is because Calgary could be anything. Calgary could be top of the division. Calgary could be bottom of the division. I'd go, well, yeah, it's Calgary. I don't know what to tell you. Here is your selling point on Calgary for AJ. You have him high as well as Megan. Eric, you have him in the 4 spot. Is it just Markstrom's going to be better?
It's not Daryl Sutter.
That does, for everyone but Nikita Zadorov, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, because I think if whatever they lose in Zadorov, they gain in Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah.
You know, Jonathan Huberdeau having a 55-point season, I just don't think happens again. You know, Andrew Mangiapane shooting like 7% or some shit last year, I don't think happens again. So you're talking about a lot of things that went against the Flames last year. Also coming off of a pretty hard summer in which your 2 best players didn't want to be there anymore. And you had to really redo that identity on the fly.
Yeah.
And then now you're redoing it again because you have a new head coach and a new GM. And I think it's just a fresh start for everybody. I don't know if it's happened yet, but Backlund will probably be the captain there if they name one.
They named him, yeah.
They did? Okay, great. He re-signed, so they finally got somebody to take their money.
He's there, yeah.
And I think that will help them from a continuity aspect of it's a lot of the same team. And they're also going to have a head coach that should be giving looks to the Jacob Peltiers, the younger guys who they've had a couple of guys that have been fantastic AHL players. Guys that have broken point per games that could help the bottom of their lineup.
Given the opportunity.
Last year, and yes, Markstrom is a huge part of this because that's the worst season he's had in the NHL. And am I a big believer that Markstrom is the guy he was 2 years ago? No. But I think that he's somewhere in between. And this is the same kind of conversation with Thatcher Demko in Vancouver. He's in between.
Yeah.
And if he's in between, if they have exactly the same season, Demko and Markstrom, my faith is on Calgary being the better team. I think they're the better group. Their defense is very good.
Yeah.
Eric, you helped build at least some part of this team.
Yeah. But here's my take on it. When you express a lot of displeasure about a coach, you better back it up too.
Yep.
Right? I mean, whether Daryl's right or wrong, or, we're not talking about Daryl's not there anymore. I think Huska's a good man, has paid his dues. We'll see what happens there. But obviously, Brad being gone and Greg Conroy taking over, and a lot of the same people, Don Maloney, Craig Conroy, Brad Pascal, a lot of the people are still there. I think the wild card is in net. You're bang on. Markstrom, is he going to be the guy from 2 years ago? Or is he going to be the guy that been in the playoffs that 2 years ago was not very good? I think it trickled down effect to last year. He struggled. I do believe Peltier's, though now he's out for a few months. I think he just had surgery today. Got hurt like 2 days ago. I think that he brings that youthful enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I really like him, and I'll tell you who was a big fan of his was Chris Snow, that obviously passed away a couple days ago, and hearts go to the family. But Snowy was a huge Jacob Peltier fan, and he went to bat for him. And I'm always gonna link those two together because there's been some hard-fought battles behind closed doors, and I tell you, I see what Snowy saw in this guy, and I'm not saying just Snowy, but the rest of the staff. But Peltier's got that, I don't know if you see him last year, he's on the bench and he's pumping up Huberdeau, that's having an absolutely atrocious, tough mental year. It was just bad. So I do believe they'll be better this year. I do believe they get in there. I do believe they should have gotten there last year. They had the team. They're a way better team than a team outside the playoffs. I would say that's probably the team in the NHL last year that was not in the playoffs that should have been when you look at it on paper. So I do believe they'll be better because last year was such a big disappointment. But they do have a dangerous team. I think they're well built. I think there's going to be, a different Calgary Flames team this year.
I feel the way about the Flames this year that I did Vegas last year, where I think that there's going to be an emotional switch that's flipped.
Yep.
I think that there's going to be, it's a fresh coach, it's a new start, it's a new approach. I probably would feel a lot better about this if it was Mitch Love and not Huska.
Yep.
Just because you have the two-time AHL Coach of the Year in your organization and you don't hire him, you're putting yourself out there.
It's interesting.
It's Craig Conroy's first major decision. He puts himself out there like that. Hey, we'll see.
Better be right.
Yeah. Losing the Toffoli for Sharangovich swap, we'll see how that goes. But even considering all that, I look at that roster and I just say that's a really good team.
Oh, I agree.
That's a really good team.
Let's talk about the other Canadian team here in Edmonton, because I don't personally have a ton to say about it. Are they not just in the exact same position they've been in for the last 3 years?
Yep. I mean, we both have them winning the division, so
yeah.
Toronto West, right?
Yep.
All the big conversations for Edmonton come after the regular season.
Yep.
They'll be somewhere in the playoffs.
Yep.
They've got two of the very best players in the world.
But giant question mark in goal.
Driving that train. They'll have a full season out of Matthias Ekholm, and we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. But for a regular season,
they'll be there.
They're built for that.
Yep. So, Eric,
yes,
it's your time, buddy. Sell us on LA.
My Kings. I love.
I just want to say,
I love what what's that? I gotta go.
Somebody did inquire.
Yeah.
Is this because he played there?
No, I am a big Rob Blake fan. I am. I do. I mean, Rob Blake is a good personal friend of mine. I love the guy. I think he's done a marvelous job there. I think he's a perfect guy for the job there. He's calm under pressure. I like what they've done with their sentiment position, right? They're as strong as it is around the National Hockey League with those guys there. There is a question mark in net, but I always go back. I mean, I'm older than you guys. Go back to 95, 96. In September, the Avs roster was a bit different than it was in December. I do believe they're going to go get a goalie, and that's why I have him there. Not because I played there. It's irrelevant, even though, like I said, I am a huge Rob Blake fan. But Luc Robitaille fan, Rob Blake fan. But I do believe that the goaltending that you see the first night of the year will be different than the goaltending you see in the playoffs.
And the reason I don't have them the winning division is because I don't know that it happens quickly.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
If they wait till February to do it,
Too late. Yeah.
It might be too late.
to chase down the division title.
And the Avs did it in December. So
Exactly.
I always said my target is December.
Exactly. and like, even if they do it in December, is that enough time?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see, because
Yeah.
then you have a new goaltender, and we've seen big in-season goalie trades throughout history
Can blow up.
do not have a lengthy history of going well for the teams acquiring those goaltenders. Obviously, things went pretty well with Patrick Waugh.
Yeah.
But that is an outlier historically of number one goalies getting traded in season. Because you talk about, for skaters, the adjustment to style, to a different style, to a different coaching system, to all that stuff.
For sure.
It's pretty minor.
There's not a
For
ton of
goaltenders, it can be pretty
variance.
severe. And because you're getting completely different coaching, you're focusing on different aspects of your game.
Oh, yeah.
You're playing behind a different defense. You have to build up the communication.
Agreed.
You've got different systems. There's so much to it for a goaltender. We always talk when a goaltender changes teams in the offseason, give it till December to really start judging him.
Yep.
For an in-season trade, if they get him in December, you're talking about give him till March. And then a month later, the postseason starts. It's very hard to do. So
But it will get done.
I agree with you. I think it happens. I think it happens. And that's why I am terrified of the
LA.
Kings this year.
If they have a goalie, I think they're scary.
Yep. Kopitar, Deneau, and Dubois down the middle. Girl, please. That is a center depth.
Yeah.
They have a good defense. It's not incredible. But 1 through 6, very Vegas-esque in that it is very good.
Yep.
And there's a Hall of Famer at the top of it. Drew Doughty is there. Alex Pietrangelo.
Yep.
Hell,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much pretty similar
They,
careers,
they
to be
are
honest with
very
you.
similar players,
Yeah,
to be honest.
very
Yeah.
similar careers.
Agree.
And still number one guys for those franchises. And so that's, LA has all the mix except right now Cam Talbot's their number one goalie.
Yep. So if they solve that, we feel pretty good about them. We all have them in the playoffs with whatever that ends up being.
Yep.
Then you have the defending Cup champs in Vegas. I think this is pretty straightforward. Their big question mark is what happens in net. Is Aiden Hill for real? Do they go back to Logan Thompson? How does that shake out? The rest of their lineup is very good. There's no doubt about it. They have a strong forward core, even if Mark Stone is missing time with whatever the back thing is.
Yeah, when Mark Stone gets tired of playing in the regular season and like mid-February, like right around the All-Star break, decides to have back surgery again, and we'll just make sure he's healthy for the postseason.
Yep.
Don't be surprised, because then there's their LTIR money to go get whatever the hell they want at the deadline.
Yep.
And you have to love what their front office does and how they approach it. They approach it very much like your dad used to.
Yeah.
I'm not out of anything. I'm not giving up on any season.
Yep.
I'm not letting any opportunity to win a Stanley Cup fall by the wayside. I'm going for it. Now that they have the cup, they might even be emboldened to go even harder for it
it's
because
worked,
there's
yeah.
no repercussions now. You're in a golden era now, a literal golden era for them.
I mean, I love what they've done. I love the way they build their team. Since the first year, it's been awesome there. I'm a fan of theirs. But I do believe there's going to be a little bit of a hangover, not because of William Karlsson's speech last year at the parade, but I do
He's
believe
still hungover from that.
I do believe their hangover will carry a bit longer.
We've seen it.
I think their hangover will be a little bit longer. That's why I got them a little bit lower than you guys. I do believe it will last more towards like 30 games, and then they'll figure it out. I don't think they're going to get themselves out. I just don't think they'll be at the top for that reason.
My concern about Vegas is almost the opposite, that they come out riding the wave. and then
Too hard, too fast.
The best hockey that they play happens in October, November, December, and then after that they level off.
Yeah, no, that's a complete opposite. I love it.
That's the thing that I'm more concerned about.
Yeah,
and
no,
that
for sure. Yeah.
The hangover kicks in where they get to January and they're like, holy shit, we're tired. Yeah. Like we are exhausted.
They'll be tired sometime. I don't know if they'll be at the start or at the end, but they'll be tired.
My
Too
biggest
true.
concern is what happens if Aiden Hill's a 905 goaltender, right? Like,
Well, Logan Thompson's there, and I believe in Logan Thompson, so I'm not worried about it. If
But-
they need to get to a third guy, I think there's no answer there.
and this is more, I agree with you, but if Aiden Hill isn't the guy, Vegas has often found ways to make the money work, but it's
Yep.
hard to move goaltenders, man.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, and now they have two goalies making money.
yeah, exactly. And if you're paying Aiden Hill $5 million to sit on the bench, that's tough.
For a team
Yeah.
that has to maximize every dollar, that's
Yep.
a hard thing to accept.
Yeah.
Logan Thompson's a huge value for them.
Yep.
But between the two of them at $6 million is more expensive than Colorado's tandem, for example.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right, that was the Pacific Division. We've got one video left covering our Central Division predictions, and then it's time to start the season. So like and subscribe here on YouTube to catch that final video and all of our other content. We'll be back in the next video.